Hi, everyone. Welcome to Guinness World Records on Facebook Live here. We are live in Wisconsin today with Deb Hoffman, the Guinness World Records title holder for largest collection of Winnie the Pooh memorabilia, which as of 2015 was over 13,000. How many do you think are in it now? I know you continuously reapply to update.
I was going to say every minute of the day the number changes almost, and so I'm a little over 14,000 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're here seeing just part of it. These are just a few of some of multiple rooms of the Winnie the Pooh collection here. If you have any questions at any time during the broadcast, let us know in the comments and we will ask Deb, where do you begin when you're giving someone a tour of this place?
Well, you know, it's interesting when you tell somebody that you have 13,000 of something. Most people can't imagine what it looks like, and so they'll come into one of the rooms, and the first room is not quite as heavily populated, and so then as we work through room 2 and 3, usually the words that people say are, "Oh my God," and they stop and they just look around because there's so much to take in. I mean, there's so much to look at, and so people just absolutely love seeing the variety. Sometimes people think, oh, it's probably just all stuffed animals, but it's figurines and shirts and it's just it's everything. It's on the floor, it's on the ceiling, and so people really love it.
We were discussing earlier, where do you find new things to add to the collection? Are you actively looking for things? Do things come to you?
Well, it's interesting. I look all over. You know, I'll look in the regular stores, but then thrift stores, eBay, Craigslist, and interestingly enough, there are collectors that have to downsize their collection, or maybe they're looking to move into a smaller space, and so people who collect, they don't necessarily want to just get rid of or donate or you know, give it to kids or whatever, and so they seek me out and they ask kind of if I'll take care of their collection for them, and so I'll come home and there'll be boxes on the stoop, and my husband Gary will say, well, honey, what'd you get today? And I said, well, I don't remember, or I can't think of anything, and so I'll open it up, and some wonderful person will have sent me some things, and so often I don't have the things, and so it's very cool. It's very neat, but it's like a forever scavenger hunt. You know, I'm always looking for that red and yellow character somewhere.
Again, if you've just joined us, we're here with Deb Hoffman. We're outside in Milwaukee today. We're live with her Winnie the Pooh collection. It is the largest. As of 2015, was over 13,000 unique items. No duplicates allowed, of course. Any of the characters, as you can see from A.A. Milne's story, any of the characters are allowed. Is there a character that you favor, that you look more for? Is it Pooh?
It's got to be Pooh. It is. But you know, I find that there are a lot of people that love Eeyore. They absolutely love Eeyore. And one of the people that had sent me their collection, he was a big Tigger collector. He just associated with the bouncy, the excited, the kind of ADD characteristic. And so, you know, he wrote me this wonderful letter. And so, yeah, Tigger was his favorite. Don't find a lot of Piglet people, but definitely Tigger and Eeyore.
Again, let us know what characters are your favorites. If there's any things you want to see in the collection, there's so much to see here. Again, it's tough to know where to start.
We did get a question, what's the oldest piece?
The oldest piece in the collection.
The oldest piece.
We have them set up for you. We knew you would ask.
I was going to say, I have one of the oldest pieces is actually this one on the wall. And so this one over here, actually, somebody just recently sent to me. It's a pre-Disney piece, and so it's before Disney actually took over the copyright, and it was from Stephen Schlesinger. And so a wonderful lady that I met through Facebook, she was downsizing her collection, and she sent this to me, and I believe this is probably from the 40s. And so, to my knowledge, this is probably one of the oldest pieces that I have.
Let's go into the next room. You guys haven't seen nothing yet. Again, the largest Winnie the Pooh collection here, over 13,000 items, likely more at this point, being verified all the time. Is it difficult keeping track? Was there a first time that you had to itemize everything that was very difficult? Is it easy to add to it? What's your process?
Well, you know, in the beginning, it took us nearly a year to find everything, because every time we opened up a closet or a drawer or something like that, I found a pencil. I was going to say we kept finding more stuff. And so my husband is a programmer, and so he actually wrote a database for me, and now he's attached an app to it. So now when I'm out at the store, I can type in some criteria to the app, and it'll come up with matching items, and I can see if I have the item or not. So, you know,
How convenient.
it was very nice. Up until about 10,000 pieces, I was pretty darn accurate. You know, I pretty much knew if I had it, but it was like after 10,000, I started thinking, oh, I don't remember or not. And when things are kind of similar, maybe they're like different sizes, that's where I definitely have to access the app to figure it out. So I'm really happy. He's the best part of my collection, I always say. He's been very indulging and very, very supportive. So I thank him for that app.
Sounds like we have some more questions.
We do. Kelsey wants to know, when did you start collecting? And Marcy wants to know, how do you keep all of it clean?
Well, when I first started collecting, you know, as any kid does, your parents give you a toy, and my parents gave me a Winnie the Pooh. And as a normal child, I eventually grew out of the stuffed animals. But then when I was in my 20s, Disney started putting Pooh into costumes other than his regular shirt. And so I think to compete with Ty Beanie Baby, and I would find one and be like, oh, look at that, an Easter Pooh or a Halloween Pooh. And I started buying them, and before I knew it, I was back into Winnie the Pooh again. And then one day, my husband's best friend said, I bet you have the most in the world. Well, now I had to find out. It was almost like a dare. And
Yes.
so submitted my collection after a year to Guinness World Records, and sure enough, I had the most.
Mika wants to know, what's the rarest piece you have?
You know, the rare ones are definitely anything that's pre-Disney. And so like the piece that was on the wall, I have a couple of stuffed animals. I have one piglet. He's amazing. He was designed by Agnes Brush, and he's also probably from the 50s. And I bought him on eBay, and interestingly enough, he was actually owned by the daughter of actor Vincent Price.
Oh.
And so I said to her, you know, I messaged her back, and I said, well, how do you know it was owned by the daughter of Vincent Price? And she said, well, because I am the daughter of Vincent Price. And so I believed her. And so that was really kind of cool. I also have a bee. It's a wooden bee, and it was hand-carved, and it was from the top of the costume used at the Disney park in the 60s. And so he is probably the most rare piece. I'd love to find the rest of the costume to go with it, and so, so that's probably another really rare piece.
Again, if you've just joined us, this is Deb Hoffman. She's the Guinness World Records title holder for largest collection of Winnie the Pooh memorabilia at over 13,000 items. I see you're wearing some of them today. Are your nails
Yep.
Winnie the Pooh? Check this out.
My nail tech is absolutely fantastic. Sue is wonderful. She learned how to draw Winnie the Pooh by hand. So these are not decals. She does
They look
this
like
by hand.
stickers.
I know. She does an amazing job. She does that freehand for me. So anytime I'm going to go up to White River for Winnie's Hometown Festival or do anything Winnie the Pooh related, she does my nails for me.
So before we move on, there's a room, the bathroom has some pretty cool stuff in it. How do you decide to organize things? How do you decide to cluster? By character, by type?
You know, it kind of depends on where I have room. I
Sure.
tried at one point to have like all the Eeyores over here, and then I have the Tiggers over here. But so it's I don't know. It kind of depends on how the wind is blowing some days.
Can we see some of the rare ones? Are they in the other room?
I can show you the bee. Absolutely.
Yes.
We have a request for
Follow
that.
along.
So this is the bee, and so he's missing his antennae, but this is the bee, and so he was on top of the costume, on the honey pot of the costume in the 60s, and so my understanding is that they were all hand carved, and so every once in a while you can find a bee like this on eBay or on an auction site, and so he's pretty cool.
And there's also a picture in here of Winnipeg, the inspiration. I'd like to see that one because it's really cute. The inspiration for Winnie the Pooh was a real bear.
It was a real bear, and it was a female black bear, and actually it was sold in the town of White River by a trapper, and so he had the mother had died, and so the bear cub, he actually sold it to Lieutenant Colburn, The bear became the mascot for his troop, and when he went into active duty, he donated it to the London Zoo. And that's where A.A. Milne and Christopher Robin saw the bear and was the inspiration for the stories. And so a lot of people don't know the backstory of the bear actually being from White River, Canada. So the bear was named Winnie after the lieutenant's hometown of Winnipeg, but a lot of people don't know. And so every year we go up to White River, third weekend of August, and they celebrate Winnie's Hometown Festival. And so that's where I'll be this year.
Let's see. Marcy wants to know, has Disney contacted you about your collection?
You know, Disney never has. They never have. I've had an opportunity to share the collection with a lot of different places, but Disney has not. So.
And then Mika would like to know, what are some of your favorite items?
Well, I'm definitely holding one of my favorite items. This was given to me by a girlfriend who lives in White River, and so this one's probably one of my favorite pieces. But, you know, it's interesting. So many people will send things to me, and, you know, those are always so precious to me. One of my cousins just recently found an Eeyore, and she was so excited to find the Eeyore, and she texted me, and she's like, do you have this? And I'm like, I don't. And it was part of a collection that I wanted to finish. I had the Pooh and the Piglet, and the Tigger, but I didn't have the Eeyore. So, you know, it's so many pieces are just so very, very cool, and there's a backstory. And, you know, it's almost more about the experiences and collecting the experiences that go with the characters than the physical items themselves. And so, 2 years ago we went to England, and we had the great honor of being able to go to A.E. Milne's house, which is not a tourist location. And while we were there, we played Pooh Sticks. And the people that we met and the experiences that we had were just, I'll never forget those. I'll always communicate with those people, and they were just so wonderful and so nice. Again, it's more about the experiences than the pieces actually themselves, really.
Do you have a favorite character? That's another question that's come up.
Definitely Winnie the Pooh. And people will definitely ask me, do you like the Disney Pooh or the classic Pooh? And you know what? Any Winnie the Pooh is fine with me.
Getting political, getting technical here.
I don't discriminate.
Again, you're seeing live with us here. We're outside of Milwaukee with Deb Hoffman. She's the Guinness World Records title holder for largest collection of Winnie the Pooh memorabilia. Any of the characters you see here, no duplicates as per the guidelines. You have to have them itemized. It's quite a task to submit your evidence for a collection like this, but you submit every couple of years or so, updating.
I try to keep the collection up to date, and you're right, it takes hours and hours and hours to do the counting and to submit it every time. But having the database makes it really easy to be able to say, okay, what is the item, where is it, and then just documenting criteria about it so that I make sure that there are no duplicates.
And you were telling us earlier that you and your husband in software and website design, there's also a Pooh site. You have a couple of sites with Pooh memorabilia on them?
I do. I created a website called mostpooh.com, and that's where I have an opportunity to showcase the collection. And it's fun because Pooh collectors from all over the world will email me pictures of their collections, of pieces that they're looking for, pictures of things that they want to sell or they want to donate. And so, boy, nearly a day doesn't go by where somebody's saying, hey, I had this Winnie the Pooh when I was a kid, and I would love to find another one like it. Can you help me? And I love it when I can reunite Winnie the Pooh with the person. There was a gentleman, he wanted a particular Winnie the Pooh for his sister who was getting married, and he wanted to give it to her as a wedding gift. And he described it to me, and within about an hour, I was able to find one online, and I hooked him up with the seller, and he was just so delighted. So I love experiences like that, or people who again are looking to say, hey, I have a collection. Would you take care of it for me? And so I'll always let them know what number in my Guinness World Record collection it is, and I'll send them a postcard of where the item is in the room so that they can kind of stay united with their collection. So it's kind of fun.
Maria would like to know, what made you decide to collect Winnie the Pooh items?
Well, as a child, I probably had 8. And he was just always my favorite. And then once Disney started putting them in other costumes, it was like kind of like going back to childhood, and it was just fun. And so then the hunt began, and so it started kind of with a Winnie the Pooh phone. And then that same year, the Hallmark came out with ornaments, and well, I had to get all the ornaments, and that's kind of where things took off from there.
I have to say my favorites so far are these little guys.
Oh, the Sum
Right
Sum
here, they're
Poohs,
cute.
yeah, they're adorable. I love the Sum Sum collection. Very much influenced by Japanese design, and so those are adorable.
Can you repeat again how big the collection is? Sunita wants to know how many you have.
Sure, my current record is 13,213. However, I'm suspecting that it's much over 14,000 right now.
I do want to see the bathroom before, again, there's too much to see all in one broadcast, but if there's any particular characters or items that you want to see or have questions about, let us know here. There was an entire closet just of apparel as well.
It's interesting when I talk with other collectors, they'll comment that you wear your collection, and so there's definitely collectors that will keep everything in their original boxes with their original tags, and they don't wear anything. And I'm kind of the opposite. I rip the tags off and take stuff out of the boxes, and almost every day I'm in a Winnie the Pooh shirt.
Oh, I love this little couch. This one's great.
That is actually a tissue box holder.
Yeah.
Braden wants to know, will you ever sell your collection?
You know, my guess is I'll probably hang on to it until I go to that big honeypot in the sky. But I've told the people in White River, you better get a bigger museum, because when I go, it's all going up to White River.
I had, I think I read online that you said you would stop collecting when you stop having a pulse. Is that still true?
When I don't have a pulse, I don't have any room anymore, and hopefully the room comes before the pulse, but I'll find as much room as I can.
I do want to go back. We got to go back to those big rooms before we go. Those are the real showstoppers. And you have another room like this as well. Again, too much to see all in one broadcast. The largest collection of Winnie the Pooh memorabilia here. Just where to start? Where is there an item or a room that people get most attracted to? Is there a certain thing, or do people look all over the place?
It's interesting. They step into a room, and it's almost like they become mesmerized, and so they're like under this Pooh spell. And so definitely the rooms that have the variety. Like this room has a lot of variety. It has plush, it has toys, it has clocks. It has figurines. There's stuff on the ceiling. There's stuff on the floor.
There is stuff on the ceiling. I hadn't even looked.
I ran out of real estate on the floor, so I'm like, well, I looked up, and Gary one time he teased. He said, "Look at the ceiling. There's room up here." Well, he probably shouldn't have said that, because now I do look up and I look down and I try to find some place. And so, yeah, the ceiling is wonderful for ornaments and little stuffies that have like little dangle cords on them.
And I think I see are these maybe winter themed ones here, all these white ones. It's different colored.
It's interesting when you're a collector. It's kind of an OCD thing to finish collections, and so there's definitely collections within the collections, and so many times Disney will have the four main characters, and when I first started collecting, I was really only collecting Winnie the Pooh, but then I decided why did I do that? And so now I'm trying to fill in the blanks of filling in, finding the Piglet, Tigger, and Eeyore. So the other day when my cousin sent me the Eeyore, I was delighted because I had not found that piece. And so now that collection is done. And so I can move on to, I can move on to the next one. And so it's kind of fun.
Okay, so last question from Marcy. She wants to know, does every space have a theme, or is it just kind of all, there is no theme to each room?
I try to keep some things together. Like up here, I have a whole bunch of the clocks. No, I guess not. I guess there is no theme. I'd like to try, but then I run out of room in that area, and well, I guess it's wherever I can find space now.
And I did read my last question that one of the things that you like about Winnie the Pooh is how the different characters kind of represent different traits that all people have. Can you tell us about that before we go?
I mean, A.A. Milne was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. You know, he picked up on the fact that everybody has different characteristics, and so each one of the characters has a characteristic or a trait that a person would have. And so, you know, I find myself even saying, geez, I'm feeling a little Eeyore today, or, you know, geez, I can't settle down, I'm a little Tigger today. And so so I think that's very brilliant that he really picked up on that about people and brought it into the characters. So smart man.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us here on Facebook Live. We'll be in Wisconsin tomorrow with a friend of yours, Gerda, who has the largest collection of Smurf memorabilia, as well as Donald, who has the record for most Big Macs consumed. So a mix of record holders here in Wisconsin. But thank you for joining us, and I think there's no better way to end than TTFN. Ta-ta for now.